What's up, guys? Coach Jay from Team Hazardous, doing another video today to talk about Munguia versus Szeremeta. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I just watched it, so I tried to pay attention to that quite a bit to make sure I said it right. Yeah, great fight. This fight was between, a prospect, contender, former champion at 154 against, a durable, tough, challenger who's, had fights against, Triple G and, some other tough fighters. So it was really more about Munguia, obviously, right? He's the showcase. So what I saw was a kid who is coming into his own offensively even more, using his jab a lot. He used it in the first 2 rounds really, really well. I was impressed by that. And what I like was the jabs to the body, very key into what he could be doing in the future. That said, his opponent was pretty much a sitting duck for the entire fight. So what we saw was limited and probably what we was expecting to see. But you got to give credit to Munguia for actually going through with, his game plan and showcasing his style and using his weapons properly. Because it's one thing to have, a fight that's tailor-made for you. It's another to actually go out there and find that this guy was even more durable than you thought and still gave you a hard time, in the midst of that, and tried to make it a fight. So, Munguia, after the first round or 2, he really did have to step it up because the guy was there. He was there to be, there to fight. Wasn't going to give him anything easy, but he just had a style that made sense for him to beat. So it was, we hoped to see exactly what we saw, and that was good. I think at this weight, it's probably the sweet spot for him. He's a big guy, was probably cutting way too much at, the junior middleweight 154 weight class. I think 160 is going to be right where he needs to be right now, but he's still young. Still 24, still got some growing to do. You can see that he's still got a baby face. His body isn't, he's not like he's super ripped up. He's still got some growth happening. So you could expect him to move up in weight. Now, as he does, that could be dangerous, right? Because guys are not going to be smaller now, So I think, the wrinkle in his game that we've all been waiting for is defense. In this fight, he showed some defense. He showed head movement, but he didn't really need to use it because he wasn't really in danger a lot of the times, right? So there wasn't really much of a threat there to be forced to use your defense. But it's good to have the habit of using it when it's needed. So if you're getting a lot of straight punches, you want to make sure your head is off the line. And he's doing that. So he's not just absorbing the punches the way his opponent was. Because, to contrast that, his opponent was doing that exactly. Just standing there and taking punches. You would have liked to see, his opponent do more footwork to create angles and frustrate him a little more. Maybe we could have seen even more development and offensive, skills and strategy from Munguia had his opponent been someone like that, But I think this was made for him to look good, to look better, because the last fight or 2 were against guys who gave him a little bit more trouble because of those very things. So this was made to do the opposite, So we got to keep in mind the matchmaking, how they bring him in along, keeping the confidence level high while still racking up those wins. And then ultimately he got the TKO. He overwhelmed the guy in the 5th round, I believe, and he just didn't come off the stool. So got the TKO, and he's on to bigger and better things, right? So while watching the DAZN broadcast, they mentioned Gabe Rosado, who had a really, really, great knockout, surprise knockout to everybody, on the same card. So that could be his next fight, and it makes sense. Put him on the undercard with a, former title challenger, and, you know, someone who's very experienced, and that could be his step up fight, you know. So we're right in the middle of 2021, you know, maybe the end of the year, that's his, you know, final fight of the year to really, you know, see what's in store for 2022 if he gets the big win against, you know, Gabe Rosado and looks good doing it. So, you know, that's going to be something to look out for. I'd like to see it. You know, I think it makes a lot of sense, like the guys on the telecast said. You know, obviously Munguia is talking about, you know, getting titles, but he's got to run into, you know, Triple G, you know, so, you know, the Charlos, Andrade. So, you know, there's a lot more work to do, I think. He would be defensively vulnerable. His offense would have to clearly outweigh their offense for his defense not to be needed. But there's always the chance of that one punch, which we saw Gabe Rosado do, right? So let's see what happens. So that's it. That's all I got. Just want to do a quick one. So like, subscribe, stay tuned for more, and let me know what you guys think. Peace.